Taurus, welcome to your weekly tarot reading. Let's get started. Let's see what the energy around Taurus, sun, moon, and rising positions is for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements. And if you've been interested in a personal reading, have a look at the description below, because I think I'm going to let my promotion run all summer because it's been so nice to connect with so many new people. So if you've been interested in a reading, it's a good time to get one, my friends. Okay, let's get started here for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. What is the current energy? Oh, that came out quick. Four of Cups. So, Taurus, you may be feeling unsatisfied with something. You may be feeling like it's time for something new. And for some of you, you may be feeling like you may have missed out on something. And you may be sort of focused more on the past and thinking, did I miss out on an opportunity there? And it's almost like your focus needs to be in the now when I see this card, because if you're focused in the past, you could start to feel a little bit down, like you missed out on something. And if you're focused too far ahead in the future, it's almost like you could start to feel anxious that things aren't moving fast enough. So right now, it's time to get comfortable in the present moment and really focus on just being present. Now, let's see here. What is the obstacle to this? What is the obstacle? Three of Cups is the obstacle. Isn't that interesting? Three of Cups, Four of Cups. So seeing the Three of Cups as an obstacle tells me that there could be some relationships in your life that are creating a bit of an obstacle for you right now. And that is sort of creating, it could be creating some tension around you when it comes to thinking that you made some decisions around relationships that you might be regretting. It's interesting. It feels like there are some key relationships in your life creating an obstacle for you moving ahead right now. So these relationships could be friendships. These relationships could be, workmates, co-workers. It could even be individuals that are, you wouldn't call them friends necessarily, but you might call them, acquaintances or even family members, so some relationships in your life that are significant enough that they matter to you, seem to be creating an obstacle for you in staying present. So you might be overly focused on the past because of a certain friendship, or you might be overly focused on the future because of a certain family member. It's very interesting. The bottom of the deck is the Four of Pentacles. So something tells me this has to do with money, security, work, your perceptions around abundance and scarcity, and this idea of feeling like limited opportunities versus infinite opportunities. So it's interesting because seeing this on the bottom of the deck makes me think that there's something you need to let go of in order to be able to sort of see what you need to see in the present moment. You know what I mean? It's interesting. Let's see here. What's top of mind for Taurus as they're going through this? Okay, top of mind, we're seeing the Nine of Swords with the Chariot, which are two cards that indicate to me you're needing to move away from some thoughts that are making you really anxious about, it feels like the anxiety is coming in because of a fear or a worry that you missed out on something, or that certain things aren't going to develop because of certain relationships in your life. Like you may be feeling like someone's holding you back from reaching some kind of emotionally fulfilling moment. You may be feeling like there's a relationship creating an obstacle for you in moving ahead, and you're focused on moving ahead, and it's creating anxiety for you because you're like, this is getting in my way. And so for some of you, like I said, it could be a friend, it could be a partner, it could be a coworker. Ultimately, it could be creating this energy where you don't trust certain relationships that you thought maybe had your back, and now you think they don't. Three of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, which kind of makes me feel like you don't want to engage or work with these people anymore. It's like there are relationships in your life that you feel may be holding you back, and you're not interested in those relationships anymore. Like you just want to move on. You want to move ahead and you want to move on. What is driving all of this for Taurus? Let's see. The Seven of Cups with the Two of Pentacles and the King of Cups. So the Seven of Cups in reverse here says to me that there is an element of fear blocking the options and the potentials in these options. That there is something within you that's saying it's not possible, or you're afraid to try maybe a different direction entirely. It feels like you're weighing things out with that Two of Pentacles, and you're trying to make a decision, but that fear is blocking you. There's some kind of emotional situation that is blocking you from being objective and making a decision that feels right for you. And seeing the King of Cups for me in this position feels like advice. It almost feels like guidance to say, tap into the energy of the King of Cups so that you can sort of stay out of the drama that maybe is surrounding you right now when it comes to these relationships or these options. You know, it's almost like there's this emotional sort of overlaying quality of the situation you're in right now, and it's sort of, it's got the potential to keep you down, you know, keep you down emotionally, or keep you down and away from moving on and moving forward. So Taurus, you sort of need to be the person in the situation that you're in who doesn't get impacted by everything going on around them. You know, that King of Cups energy can sort of be in a storm but not be impacted by it. They can be in a sea of emotions but not be impacted by it. They can still see clearly, and they can navigate the situation, and they can almost be like a guide to others because they're not internalizing what's going on around them and making it their story. Do you know what I mean? Let's see here. What is the past influence on this situation that Taurus is finding themselves in? Past influences. The Page of Cups. So at one point, the situation you're in right now was so full of promise, you know, and like you may have thought it was like a wish come true and like a dream come true. And it was this moment of transformation for you. So it started off really good. This is a good clue for us if you're sort of listening to this and thinking, I wonder how this is related to me. It's something in your life that may have started out as sort of being like, wow, a dream come true. I get to work with these people. I get to be in this relationship. I get to be a part of this experience, and feeling really grateful for it, really blown away almost at the transformative quality that it had in the past. But we can see moving into the current energy that things have turned, and now those same relationships don't feel like ones that you feel secure in or trust in. And now moving ahead into the upcoming energy, let's see. Upcoming energy for Taurus. Ooh. Okay, upcoming energy, isn't that interesting? You're going to make a big change here, Taurus. There's the Fool in reverse with the Knight of Swords in reverse. So it's interesting because it makes me feel like we're seeing the progression, right? We're seeing that when it started, this felt like a dream come true. In the past, when this situation started, it felt like you couldn't have asked for a better outcome. And it was this fresh new beginning, and you were really, really eager and excited and emotionally feeling renewed by it, and just, you know, very, very much sort of transformative in the emotional sense. Very, very new beginning that felt like your dreams had been answered, your wishes had been answered. Moving into the current energy, we see that there's something causing you significant anxiety about moving on from something. Feels like it has to do with certain relationships in this experience that are feeling like they're triggering you to want to go. Like that you feel like this isn't the place for you anymore. And seeing in the future energy that you do end up going. So, but seeing these cards in the reverse tell me that there's some part of you that's apprehensive, and that there's some part of you that may resist this, even though you know it's for your greater good. That there's this sort of part of you that's not necessarily on board fully when I see this Ace of Cups in reverse. And it's almost an interesting indication because it makes me feel like emotionally you're not sure that you want to let go. I think you just wish things were different. Like it's like you're saying to yourself or your friend, you know, I'd stay there if this would change. If this changed, I would be happy to stay there forever. You know, or in that relationship or in that experience, you know. It's almost like things around you changed outside of your consent or your control. Like, and you're like, I didn't want this experience to end yet, but now I feel like I have to move on. It's very interesting, actually, looking at these cards, because it feels like on one hand, you're out the door, and on the other hand, you're like, but I don't wanna. You know, I don't want to go. I don't want this. Even though you do want this new beginning, I think you don't want it like this. You know, I think you wished it had been on your terms instead of feeling like certain relationships are kind of pushing you out the door. It's really interesting, actually. Let's see, how does Taurus see themselves right now? How does Taurus see themselves right now? Yeah, Taurus, look at this. You're feeling really nostalgic. You know, I think you're remembering how this all began and you're like, gosh, I remember when this started, I couldn't have asked for more. Like I was so happy. And then here you are in the midst of watching the tower come down, where you know you have to face a truth about something. And it's interesting because that's coming out with the star, which is the card that follows the tower. And so the star, I'll turn it around here for you, is a time of healing from whatever transpires in the tower. We have to rebuild. We're the phoenix rising from the ashes. And I think we're seeing this in reverse again to sort of denote that this isn't the way you wanted it to go. You didn't want it to end on these terms. And you're having a hard time seeing it from a different perspective with this hangman in reverse. You know, and it almost feels like no matter how many ways you try to sort of look at it, you keep seeing it in the same way that, you know, this is out of my control and this isn't how I wanted things to go. And if, you know, I can almost hear you saying like, well, if it was up to me, you know, and then fill in the blanks. But it doesn't feel like it is up to you. It feels like something has come into a state of completion as a result of certain relationships no longer being in alignment with you and you feeling that way, like that these individuals in the situation with you, that they may have had your back at one point or you thought so, and now you're seeing, well, maybe they don't. But it's interesting because if you sort of look at this as sort of like a metaphor, perhaps the whole point of the relationship shift is to get you to move on to something else that does end up serving your highest good, but you just can't see it yet. You sort of have to go along with this, and I feel like there is some resistance in the future energy. See, how do other people see Taurus right now? How do these other people in this situation see Taurus right now? Seven of Pentacles. So it's interesting. It feels like people around you can see that you're asking yourself that question, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I love that because that expression is something that over on the Minnow Pond channel, Chris Reck always says that when he sees this card, and it just stuck for me. I love it. It's such a great way to describe the energy of this card. Like, yeah, okay, I'm doing this, but is it worth it? At what cost, right? Like, is the juice worth the squeeze? And so I think people in your life are like, well, Taurus has a decision to make. I mean, these 7 cards are always about a decision that we have to make in terms of what are we going to do? What direction are we going to take? And you have another 7 right here, right on top of it, which says that there is an element of fear blocking you from moving on from this experience, but that people can see the necessity of you sort of making a choice about this. So it's all over your energy. It's even coming through on your outward energy. So if you think that people don't know that you're thinking about this, it may come as a surprise to you to find out that they do know, that it's clear. When people are in your energy, they can tell that you're thinking about making a directional change when it comes to something in your life that has been present for some time, and that separation may be necessary, 3 of Swords, but a difficult one all the same. You know what I mean? Necessary but difficult. So painful. almost like a separation that I think you just didn't want it to happen this way. I think you were hoping it would happen in a different way, or not at all in some cases. Now, let's see. What are the hopes and fears around Taurus? One card, 5 of Wands. In reverse, which tells me that part of your fear has to do with competition and comparisons that are being made. And that part of your hope is that you'll come out on top when those comparisons are made and there is competition around you. And so it's interesting because it kind of makes me wonder if that way of looking at things is serving you. Like, is it serving you to see other people as your competition? Is it serving you to make comparisons between you and other people? Or would it serve you perhaps to just focus on your lane right now? Because it feels like you've got a big decision to make and that there's things around you shifting to try to guide you. But if you're overly focused on what other people are doing, you might miss some of those signs or misinterpret some of those signs as being, you know, I always think that when we compare ourselves to people, it's going to lead to an illusion one way or the other. It's either going to show you that you're better than someone or you're not as good as someone. In both cases, those are illusions because really your universe is about you right now. Like the reality you're living is you're the main character in that reality. So I'm feeling that 5 of Wands as hopes and fears is sort of guiding you to maybe just refocus on yourself and getting on board with some of these changes that we're seeing in the future energies coming up. Yeah, like Empress in reverse on the bottom of the deck says that we're not necessarily connected to ourselves and our energy may be sort of scattered because we're not focused on something within. We're looking out instead of in. And yeah, let's see what the outcome, potential outcome here for Taurus. Okay, so we're seeing the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, which I love. This is a card I love to see in reverse because it tells me that you're turning things around. But it came out with the 7 of Swords, which tells me you could be deceiving yourself in some way, or you could be looking for a shortcut, or you could be, you know, sort of being a little sneaky with yourself, you know, like doing something that you are aware of is not your full expression. But regardless, it feels like whatever it is, it does end up turning things around for you. So I do feel like there could be a limited belief or some kind of not fully realizing something, not fully seeing something for what it is. This is your third 7 in here, 777. You have so much shift in your energy right now, Taurus. I feel like you could be in a very different situation very soon, and that it feels like it's picking up momentum this week. And so the guidance for you is to be very honest with yourself. No room for self-deception this week. Not a lot of space here for comparing yourself to others or seeing other people as your competition. It feels like turning things around comes from you being honest with yourself about whether or not this situation serves you at all, without drawing comparisons to others' experience, because maybe their experience hasn't shifted yet. Maybe they're still on the path of their highest good in this moment, but you're not. You know, we all have different things going on here, right? Okay, let's see here. What is the highest guidance for Taurus in this situation right now to close this reading? Highest guidance for Taurus on this reading full of decisions and shifting energies. Interesting. The soulmates card is coming out in reverse. Now, soulmates is not just all about love. I know that sometimes we think that, but this is a card about certain relationships, which was the beginning of your reading, remember, as the obstacle. So there are certain relationships that are teaching you great lessons right now. So if you're struggling with a relationship right now, have a second, have a seat, have a second, look at this relationship and ask yourself, what is this relationship trying to teach me right now? If I wasn't taking it so personally, What would this relationship be teaching me about myself and my situation right now? Keeping in mind how much changing energy we see on the table. I'm going to leave it at that for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading, Taurus. I hope it's been helpful. I look forward to reading for you again soon, and I'm sending you so much love and encouragement. Take care.